Hey guys, the video today is on how to manage pain. So first of all, obviously I'm no expert in pain and I'm not going to start preaching and say that I know everything about the human body because it's very, very complex, but what I can do is give you some information that would have really helped me, when I was going through those chronic pains on and off for 10 years. Like I said, you don't have to know everything, but even just knowing this here and the approach that we can take to manage pain, it's going to be really, really helpful to you if you have chronic pains or issues that you're trying to sort out. So I'll just go through this. I'll keep it brief, hopefully 10 to 15 minutes. I know I say that a lot. Keep it a lot more brief and just have the actions here that you can take into account, and you can obviously reach out then if you want any more information. So starting off, we just have the what is pain, why do we get pain, how can we approach it? So we'll keep it simple. So what is pain? If you don't know already, pain is an output from the brain. So what I mean there is, if you get pain in your knee or your back, it doesn't mean that your back is completely messed up and there's nothing you can do about it. Like for me, before I knew this, I had knee pain for 8 years playing sport. I used to wear the big blue knee band. I used to think because I had pain in my knee, I had some structural damage in my knee and it was really bad, and that it wasn't going to be fixed or whatever. And when I went to get an MRI, eventually after years, the MRI said my knee was perfect. The tissues in my knee were perfect. There was no biological issues whatsoever. So that was the first time it wasn't starting to add up, and I was kind of like, what? I had pain in my knee for 8 years, but yet there's nothing wrong with my knee at all. So that's what it's about here. Like, a pain is an output coming from the brain. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's something wrong with your body. And a quick analogy to think of, which will help remember, it's like a fire alarm. So fire alarms go off all the time, but how many times is there an actual fire? Not half as many as you would think. So it's just more of a potential fire. So that's what the fire alarm is there. Before, it goes off a lot of the time when there is no fire, but it's there because it's going to potentially, or it's going to alert you to a potential fire, just like pain can alert you to something potentially being wrong. So that's the easiest way that I used to remember, just like the fire alarm. If you get pain, a lot of the time it's not a massive deal, unless it's going on for months and months and years, then yeah, it's something that you need to look more into. So that's the what is pain. The why. So why do we get pain? It's all going to come back to the evolutionary perspective on the body. So same on the video about mobility, why we're getting tight and stiff, it all comes back to what we're designed for and what we've evolved to do over time. So it's to keep us alive again. So humans were, like a lot of other species, or like all other species, were designed to survive and reproduce and pass on our genes so that our species can keep living on. So if we did not have pain, we probably wouldn't be here. So let's just take the example of a kid touching fire. So it could be now, or even we can talk about back in the hunter-gatherer days. When we're kids, when we're very young kids, we can't do anything. Like we're the only species who are, or probably one of the only species who are completely useless as kids. Like if our mother isn't there, we're not going to live. We can't go to the bathroom, we can't eat, we can't do anything. Whereas other species, a lot of the time when they're born, they're able to do these certain things already. But because we're so adaptable, we completely pass them out. But yeah, the kid touching the fire, let's say the kid doesn't know how to speak or do anything, and it's just crawling around, and there's a campfire there, it puts its hand into the fire. So the kid doesn't know anything about the fire, if it's good or bad, doesn't even know how to speak, but from the kid touching the fire, from the nerves and the fingers, the brain is getting information that this is a little bit too hot, potentially is going to injure me, I'm going to give you pain. So even though the kid doesn't know anything, the kid knows one thing. The kid knows that fire is bad because it's got the pain in the fingers. So that has now taught the kid to stay away from fire, which is obviously going to protect it and keep it alive. So keep the species running on. So just think of that example. If we didn't have pain, if humans didn't get pain, and that kid touched the fire and nothing was happening, it might fall in, it might roll into the fire because it doesn't know any better. And then obviously that's, finito, done. So that's why the pain in that situation has actually saved the kid and will help it live on, so the species can live on, and that me and you are here. So that's actually the purpose of it, to keep us alive. So now, how can we start to manage how can we start to manage pain? What approaches can we take? So some of the most up-to-date models on pain will be what they call the biopsychosocial model of pain. Might sound a bit complicated, doesn't have to be complicated at all. What it just means is that pain can be coming from a biological aspect, a psychological aspect, and a social aspect. So that's what the biopsychosocial means. And why this is important is because it shows you that pain is not just biological. Like I said up here, if you have pain in your knee or your back or whatever, it doesn't mean that that body part is messed up and destroyed and broken, because that's what I used to think. I used to think that we only had biological aspect to pain, which is not true. So that's only like a third of the equation that we can see here, and in my opinion it's not the most important one. Lots of people will tell you it's not the most important one. So I'll run through them quickly and then explain why it's so important. For the biological part, obviously, yeah, we can get injuries, impact or overuse. Like if I grab a hammer or whack in the knee, yes, you probably would have shattered kneecap, that's a biological injury. And we can get overuse injuries as well, like in sports and tendonitis and just doing too much too soon. So that is the biological aspect. Obviously then things like sleep, stress, nutrition, these are getting bigger and bigger, and hopefully you're realising how much of an impact this can have on health in general and pain levels. Things like sleep. If you're not trying to get 8 hours of sleep a night, there's so much research out there showing you that, like lack of sleep can lead to pain, depression, all these other things. There's a lowest hanging fruit you can go for. If you're in chronic pains, you're going to different people, trying all these things, and you're getting 3 hours, 4 hours sleep a night, even 6, you're kidding yourself. You need to be ticking off these boxes straight away. So that will be the biological part. Yes, we can have different injuries, and then the sleep and the stress and everything else is going to impact it too. But this was the biggest one for me. I had no idea that like your psychology or how, your beliefs, your emotions, your past experiences could have an influence on your pain. And this is massive. I think this is the stuff I want everybody to be knowing. So just if I give you a quick example of this, it'll make so much sense. If we think of two people going to get an injection, and one person doesn't mind it at all, they don't mind needles, they know it's not a big deal, it's just getting an injection, it's going to be fine. And then have the second person, their past experience, somebody pinned them down before and jabbed a needle in their arm, they hated it, they're very afraid of it, the emotions again, the fear, they're not sure what's going to happen here, and beliefs, like they think needles could be dangerous and all this type of stuff. If you take a person like that, bring them in and give them an injection, compare the pain levels from those two people. The person who thinks it's fine, probably a 1, just a little prick of the needle. The other person could have a pain level of 10. They could be absolutely freaking out and be in excruciating pain from getting a needle in the arm. So who's right or wrong there? Do you know, like their pain is real. The person with the pain scale of a 10, they're not making it up. As I'm sure if you've been in a situation, I haven't been in a situation like that, it's just an example, but you'll understand what I mean by that. So again, like there was no biological changes there. The person who had the pain of 10 and the 0, they didn't just jab the person with the 10 and do it lightly on the other person. It was the exact same here, but just the psychology, the beliefs, the emotions, the past experiences are what's influenced that person's pain. So once I knew that was when things started to change for me. And what does it come down to? It comes down to our understanding of the brain and body. If we have no clue about that kind of stuff, it's going to make it worse and worse and worse. And that's the biggest thing that needs to change. That's why I keep saying every day about how adaptable we are, how much we can change, how we're not broken, most adaptable species on the planet, because this is influencing your psychology, your beliefs, your emotions, your understanding of the brain and the body, which is going to have the longest lasting impact, rather than me just showing you a few exercises which will help the biology. So once I understand that was the most important part. I think everybody needs to know that, even just from this video, that all those things, beliefs, emotions, past experiences, can have an influence on your pain levels. The last one then is the social. This would link in with the psychological. It's just, who are we listening to? Like, who are you listening to for this advice? And yeah, so who are we listening to, and who is influencing you? The same thing there, I guess. And like, are you listening to whoever, doctors, physio, or whoever they are in the healthcare industry that's telling you you're broken, you're fragile, give up sport, all this type of thing? Are you believing them like I did? You're listening to people when you get a little niggle or a little bit of back pain, and they're telling you, oh, rest it, that can be very dangerous, don't lift like that, don't bend your back like that. Are you listening, and are you being influenced by all this stuff? Because again, everything here is going to link back in here to your beliefs, emotions, and past experiences. Like if you bend over, hurt your back, not the end of the world, and then someone's telling you, oh, because you bent over like that, your back is hurt. If you do that again, you could slip a disc and all this type of crap. Now your past experience is me bending over equals pain, equals potential slip disc. That's affecting your emotions and beliefs. It just snowballs and snowballs to us thinking we're the Tin Man, that we're made of glass, and all this type of stuff. Move on from that again, because again, that was me. That's why it kind of gets me a little when I start talking about it. So yeah, they're the three kind of avenues that we can approach it from. And then at the bottom, so pain is a unique experience to each person. That's important to know. Just like the example of the needle injections, you know, each person was in the exact same situation, but because of the psychological aspect, they had a totally different and unique experience. So so your pain is real, you know, even though you think people might be faking pain and stuff like that, everyone can have their own unique experience of pain. But the main thing then is that the approach can be the same. So the pain can be a unique experience, but our approach to it should be the same, in that we're trying to tick off as many boxes as we can. We're trying to tick off the biological one, we're trying to educate them on the psychological, we're trying to give them better information, get them following the right people. So that's what we try, like that's what I do with clients. If you go to anyone and they tell you, I can 100% get rid of your pain, they don't know what they're talking about. You know, the human body doesn't work like that. Like I thought that, here, there's my issue, you fix me, grand, now I never have pain again. It just doesn't work like that, unfortunately. It's a lot more complicated. It's kind of a case of, do you want to take the blue pill or, you know, take the red pill and actually understand how complex the body is and what you need to do to try and manage your pain and go on moving and feeling better. So that's what I do, like with clients, the biological aspect, that's what the mobility program is for, addressing different issues, different limitations to get them moving better. The psychological part, that's why I tell them this type of stuff. You know, I'm telling you how adaptable you are, how much you can change, how much your beliefs is going to be affecting your pain, and then obviously get them to follow the right people. You know, like me, not that I know everything, but I'd be open-minded and trying to learn more and more and testing it, and just getting them to follow the right people and not be listening to that broken and fragile type of stuff that I listened to for years. So that's what it is, you know. Like I said, no expert in it, but I've gone through this myself. I've gone through 10 years of chronic pains, on and off, my back, neck, hips, knee, most parts of my body, you know, to moving and feeling better than ever, do things I never thought possible at the time. And if we just look at this here, like it'll make complete sense. Like if we look at the old Mark, biological side, moving like crap, did no joint health, did no mobility, played sport all the time, hammered my body. Okay, that would already be a red flag. Sleep, wasn't prioritizing sleep, didn't know how important it was. Stress, wasn't managing my stress. I didn't really know anything about that. You know, we don't unless we can look into it. Nutrition, didn't look at that either. So I'm getting X's all over the board here straight away, just for the biological aspect. For psychological, massive X here again. I thought I was made of glass. I thought I was broken. I didn't think I could change. I didn't know anything about the body. And now if you look at my post yesterday, like talking about the Moken tribe, how we're the most adaptable species in the world, and they can see underwater to the level the dolphins can. They've adapted to their environment so much. You know, going on, like on the psychological part, it's a spectrum, like from the broken and fragile to knowing how adaptable we are. I was at the very end here. Now I'm at the complete other end here. We're nearly superhuman, like in the way that we can adapt, and this isn't my opinion, this is the facts that I'm showing you. So I'm just trying to drag everyone up to this side of the scale, because that's what's got me the progress. I know how adaptable we are. I know it's up to the environment. We adapt to our environment. We choose the environment. I know adaptation is inevitable every day. It's up to me to see what way I want to adapt and to choose that. And that's just how I've got the progress over the last couple of years. So again, massive X there for me before. Thought it was broken, thought it was fragile, thought I couldn't change. X here again, social, who am I following to? I'm listening to every doctor and physio giving me a diagnosis, telling me I'm broken, you know, scoliosis, this and that, give up sports. This is all the stuff I'm listening to and internalizing and believing to be true, which is leading back over here. So the old Mark is getting an X in every one of these boxes. So I'm not surprised at all that that's the situation that I had, 10 years of chronic pains on and off. And that's, I'm not an anomaly, that's the case for a lot of people. If we look at me now, biology, I'm doing joint health stuff every day for 2 years, even 5 minutes a day, add that up, that's 200 hours over 2 years. I'm still doing it every day, and I'm obviously doing more, training smart, all that type of stuff. I'm getting a big tick there. Sleep, I've read so many books on data, like sleep is massive, I won't go into it again. I prioritise my sleep, I manage my stress, and now I'm starting to look after my nutrition as well. I'm getting a tick on that box. Psychological, I think we'll just take that and move on. You know that at this stage, I'm 100% on that one, I know. Social, I started following the results. When I was getting all those diagnoses, and the last diagnosis, scoliosis, give up sports, this and that, I changed the social aspect of it completely. I'd had enough, and I just went following the results, following better people, following people who got out of pain, and that's what I followed ever since. If you saw my Instagram, it's certainly all people with my kind of way of thinking, and it wasn't my way of thinking, it was their way of thinking, but they've just kind of brought me up and influenced me and now that's the way that I'm thinking. So I completely changed this, and that helped to change this, and then that helped to change this as well. So that's why, like, the social one is massive. Like, who are you following? That's why I'm putting out this stuff, to try and influence people to take more ownership themselves, to educate themselves. And it's going to start from here. Like, who is influencing you? Who are you listening to? And are they the right people? That'll influence this, that'll come around and influence this then as well. So if you look at me before, I would have got X here, X here, X here. If you look at me now, tick, tick, tick. Before, 10 years of chronic pain on and off, told to give up sports, broken and fragile, blah, blah, blah. And now if you look at me, you know, people would think I'm doing this stuff for years, but it's only 2 years, just because I've changed a lot of this. So yeah, hopefully that helps. And yeah, we'll leave it there. And if you want to ask me anything else, you can reach out to me and I can give you more information on it. But like, if you're just understanding that, it's going to be a massive help in managing pain and moving and feeling better. So yeah, hopefully you got something from that. I probably should start the whole, you know, like, subscribe, comment, all that type of stuff. And I used to think that was kind of very cringy, but you know, like, if I'm putting out this information, I want people to watch it. That's the whole point of it. So, you know, if you do find benefit from this video, or if you're liking the stuff I'm doing on Instagram, I would appreciate a bit of support, you know, liking it, sharing it, even subscribing. If you're watching these videos and you haven't subscribed, just press the subscribe button. And that's just supporting me. The more support I get, then the more people that I'm going to be able to reach, which is the whole point of it. So, so yeah, I would appreciate that if you like any of the content I'm putting out here, or from following me on Instagram. So thanks, and we'll talk next week.